Sure, why not? I am the token black guy. I'm just supposed to smile, stay out of the conversation, and say things like, damn, shit, and that is whack.
Everybody's got at least one. Eric Vincent and Martin Weiss are your black friends.
Episode 2 of Your Black Friends is brought to you by The Bar, the Black Alumni Reunion at the University of Michigan. Shouldn't homecoming remind you how hyped the best 4 or 5 years of your life were? Homecoming at Michigan has been too whack for too long. Make memories you might forget with the people you know you never will. October 9th through 11th. Follow Relive The Bar on Instagram and Twitter for more. And now here we go. Eric, how you doing today, bud?
What's going on, man? Everything all right?
Everything's good. Welcome to episode 2 of Your Black Friends. Thanks for checking in. Remember, subscribe, download us on iTunes, and all of that good stuff.
All that.
But first, it's with heavy hearts that we have to mention that it's been a year now since Mike Brown has died, since he was murdered at the hands of Darren Wilson, a police officer. And obviously we want to say rest in peace. But, you know, Eric, it's sad because almost a year to the day, we now have another situation where Christian Taylor, a Texas college student, was murdered by another police officer.
Yeah, this hasn't slowed down at all. The Trayvon situation happened and Mike Brown, and, you know, it just keeps, it's one after another, like so many stories, and at the same time, it just becomes a repetitive, ridiculous, sad story that shouldn't be happening in this country.
I mean, you got, Eric Gardner, Sandra Bland, obviously just all these different interactions with police that end up with black people dead. And we have another one here. And I was reading this article today on BuzzFeed. Stacia L. Brown, I believe. And I know BuzzFeed's not necessarily the type of place that you go to get like the best information, but this article is actually very well written. It wasn't one of those click through, top 10 reasons why you're 25 years old and live in your parents' basement. So the whole premise of the article is why I Facebook stalk dead black teenagers. And she goes to the whole point of saying the media portrays black teenagers as thugs and this and that based off of what they do on their social media. So she goes and does the other thing where she'll go and find the alternative versions, the alternative pictures, the pictures with the cap and gown, the pictures with the family, and then use that kind of as a auto epitaph or obituary for that person, because obviously they didn't get a chance to write one themselves because they were gunned down. And it just really rubbed me the wrong way, because to me that's using the same exact logic that the media portrays us as when something happens, where Mike Brown is a kid and then he's a thug and then he's a huge, gangster, and then all of a sudden, now he's threatening a police officer's life at 18 years old. Whether or not he was a college graduate, whether or not he was a high school graduate, whether or not Christian Taylor was a dropout, doesn't matter to me. The police should not be able to offer out a death sentence. And that's one of the biggest problems that I have with the social media aspect of today's life. The mainstream media just finds a way to try to devalue this person's life by the things that they put on the internet.
So you're saying the author of this BuzzFeed article was wrong for what she said, for putting the story together?
I understand where she was coming from. Because she's saying that all these, obviously, when I graduated from college, my picture from there is up on social media. When I got my first job, my picture from there is up on social media. But also, there's pictures of me drinking alcohol on social media. There's pictures of parties on social media. And what she's saying is, because the media will not go out and filter through these pictures and portray you in a good light post-mortem, she will. Mm-hmm. And I just disagree with the whole premise of going through someone's social media with the thought that they knew that they were going to die that day.
Well, I agree with you to an extent, but at the same time, this is where we got to look in the mirror sometimes and address ourselves, because you're on social media. Are your parents on social media?
Yes.
And how often do they tell you, don't put that picture up you drinking in the bar? Pictures of you doing something a little bit irresponsible that could maybe mess you up on a job interview or just anything important that represents the family. I'm sure they've checked you on that sometimes.
Yeah, when I was younger, when I was growing up and learning back in the AOL Instant Messenger days, back in the,
Oh yeah, AIM for sure. But I think if any of this is gonna change, or if there's a better way, to go about situations like this, it has to start with us. No matter what, whether it's the media that was gonna pull it up, or just think about it. If you're on Twitter, or Instagram, or any kind of social media, friends of, say, Mike Brown, let's say he has a Facebook. I'm pretty sure people were retweeting his tweets or going about his social media, looking at his day-to-day life too. Social media is completely open to the world, and it pretty much controls everything around us now, from sports teams and restaurants. It covers everything now. Everything is a trend on hashtag or hashtag trending on Twitter. But we got to represent ourselves in a better way because we can't have something used against us at a point where we can't defend ourselves. Now, I'm not at all saying he was responsible for his death. I think the officer needs to be held completely accountable and 100% responsible for what happened. But in a situation like this, we have to have our slate completely clean so people can't even bring up the argument of, oh, he's a thug. I'm not saying be a goody two-shoe, but, well,
the whole point of the article that she's writing is she's posting his social media points that would not be considered thuggish or whatever.
Yeah, but you don't like the fact that people are going through their social media at all.
I don't,
you think
because
it should be
I don't think
out once they pass.
Because I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters at all. And I think that the only reason that people go through someone's social media is to try to devalue their life in some form or fashion, say that their life was taken because they like rap music or because they were smoking a little bit of weed or because they were drinking alcohol on Instagram.
Well, that's on Fox News and other, hateful bashing.
Absolutely. That's why I completely disagree with you when you say that that's on the person who was murdered. Like,
I'm not saying it's on the person that was I'm not saying it's on him. I'm saying we should carry ourselves in a way where they can't even use that against us. I'm not saying it makes what happened to him okay. I'm saying we need to look at ourselves in a better manner so it can't even be used against us as a weapon in an argument.
And I can agree with that. But moving forward, you have the right to represent yourself however you choose to on social media. There's no laws on social media, as far as I know, that you can misrepresent all you want. You can be a catfish if you want. I don't think that's illegal. I could be wrong. I'm not exactly sure. I don't watch the show or anything like that. My experience with Catfish is Manti Te'o, and that's about it. I stay on ESPN.
Great show.
But you can do that, and it's not illegal. So you could be whoever you want to be on the internet. But that doesn't mean that you say I am Eric Vincent on Twitter. Who you are on Twitter may not be who you are in real life. We all know that from people pump faking left to right. You know that from people just putting on.
Yeah,
people put on for a lot more than they really are. And the only reason that people dig up their Twitter or their Instagram is to try to find a reason why this police officer has some type of justification to kill him.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with it personally. Just to put my stance out, I don't see any problem with researching somebody's social media because how are you going to get the questions now? What are you going to go talk to his family? They don't want to talk to anybody. You think they want to get up on Fox News and talk about what's going on?
What questions do we need to get the answers to?
Whatever answers they're finding on social media. What kind of kid was he? The story that people don't know about the kid before he was slain. That's all the people know. He was gunned down by an officer. What else don't we know? Where school did he go to? Was he in trouble? Was he a good kid? Whatever.
And what does any of that have to do with the fact that you should not, unless he's directly attacking a police officer, directly threatening a police officer's life, all right, then I feel you. You know what I'm saying? And obviously I'm not sitting here saying police officers shouldn't be defending themselves. But what I'm saying is a police officer is not judge, jury, executioner. Too frequently in this country, we have the police officer playing judge, jury, execution, and then social media becomes the verdict. Social media becomes, oh, okay, well, he was smoking weed. Oh, he did this, he did that. Oh, he tweeted, fuck the police, because, he was listening to NWA.
I'm not at all saying...
that's the reason why he was killed. If he hadn't done that, he would have been all right.
I'm not at all saying it makes it okay. And just for the record, and maybe not the case of average Americans, in celebrities, social media is now in 2015 the judge, the jury, and the verdict. Because as long as memes are around, and like I said, as big as social media is right now, like Bill Cosby, stained with his crime. Not because of social media solely, but it has a big reason why. Because social media is a huge point of how this world moves. And at the same time, I'm not saying at all that, okay, say this kid has tweeted fuck the police or whatever else he has said. It doesn't at all make it okay with what happened with the officer and the incident itself. What I'm saying is it's important and people want to know. When people pass away, people want to know the things that you didn't hear in their life. Like before social media was huge, like when Michael Jackson passed, we saw him on Entertainment Tonight, all digging up about his story. It happens with every celebrity. You go into their life and see that the things that you didn't know.
First off,
I'm just saying it's important. That's all.
First off, with celebrities, that's a whole different story because you're not going to have a celebrity situation where, let's be honest. Even somebody low-level celebrity like Steve Harvey, when he gets pulled over, he's not going to be having these same type of interactions as the average black guy.
Of course not. He has more money than that.
Exactly.
He's in a different situation.
And he's a recognizable face. So he's not. I'm not considering people like that when I'm talking about something like this. When I'm saying social social media does not deserve to be your judge, because we sit here, I did it on episode 1 and likely doing it on episode 101, is judge someone off of what they did on social media. What do you say? What's your response to people who say, oh, Eric Garner died, okay, and then go forward and say, oh, well, he's been arrested X amount of times. He's been, he's done this X amount of times, done that X amount of times, and this is the reason why he was murdered.
I don't agree with it. I disagree 100% because that just takes away from the incident that happened itself. His criminal history, you cannot look at it and say, okay, that is the reason he was choked out. But other youths who were gunned down in their situation, their past does not validate or even dictate their
murder.
What I'm saying is the part of the lives that people don't know, because when you hear Trayvon Martin, people didn't know who he was before that. But people look into social media and they look into his life, talk to his family to see what happened in his life that we're missing. It's important because people want to know
why. What exactly is missing outside of the fact that an unarmed black person. And, it's funny because you can speak about these in generalities because it's almost always the same story. An unarmed black person.
It has been the same time. It has been.
What else is important to this story outside of an unarmed black person being murdered by someone in a position of power?
It happens.
Like, what else is relevant to? Like, what else is relevant to the story? What else? Why is it relevant if I was tweeting about going to Kroger and getting a bag of eggs 2 days before the police gunned me down? Why is that relevant?
Because people don't always. Because everyone's not thinking of the same thing. People have different trains of thoughts.
And to me, that's the problem. People should only see this as there's a disturbing trend in this country, that the fact that unarmed blacks are being murdered by police.
Yes, and that needs to come about. But at the same time, you can't sit here and say that you don't sit and wonder. Every time someone dies, we always say, oh, well, he would have been the next this. He wanted to be a doctor. He was a kid, grew up, played basketball his whole life. All he wanted to do was play in the NBA. You talk about that and you learn about those kind of things from having conversations outside of the incident itself. They're both important, more so the incident itself of the kid being gunned down or Eric Garner being choked out. They all come to some degree in the conversation. Now, yes, this needs to be addressed immediately because, like I said, it's been happening way too much since Trayvon. We thought this was just okay.
I think it was happening well before Trayvon Martin. It's just Trayvon Martin was the first one that got the big groundswell of support, and then without Trayvon Martin, you would have never had Ferguson.
Thanks to the Black Lives Matter movement.
And then without Ferguson, now we're starting to hear these groundswell, and I think a lot of it has to do with social media, and a lot of it. So it's a gift and a curse. I just think about it in my own perspective. Depending on what point in my life I was hypothetically murdered by the police, my narrative would be incredibly different. And people who know me and people who care about me think, Martin, he's a very caring person, very loving person. But then if I got pulled over somewhere around my junior year of college when I had something in the trunk I shouldn't have, then whoop, whoop, all of a sudden I'm coming down as a thug. If I get gunned down in that situation, I come down as a thug, when in reality, I'm from Mandeville, Louisiana. People who know me know thug is far from what I am. But then everybody who knows me is going to have to go and defend me because I tweeted out some Jeezy lyrics.
My point is, all in the beginning, it's time for us to respect ourselves in a manner where those things can't be used against us. They just can't. And honestly, I don't think, like you said, tweet out some Jeezy lyrics. I don't think that's going to be it. But I think reaching into that and just digging into the conversation kind of discredits it a little bit to itself. But when you represent yourself in the way possible, which starts at home with the parents, how they carry themselves is how the kids end up carrying themselves. And I think to some degree, black people do got to look in the mirror because it's going to start with us. If any of this is going to change, it has to be with us. The government's not giving us any help. Politicians not helping us. The cops damn sure haven't been the most friendly over the past, 2-3 years. So it's going to be on us. Been helping that, I think, personally the Black Lives Matter campaign in America has been something for us to stand on because as we've talked about before on and off the mic, there's not a ton of black leadership in this country. It's very limited, I would say, to be honest with you. And something that kids can, get behind, whether it's chanting Kendrick Lamar's "We Gonna Be All Right" record in Cincinnati or Black Lives Matter, something to stand on and something to look at as a sign of hope. It's been, I would say, it was a positive movement necessarily for America.
The thing for me is, anytime you see somebody that's gunned down by the police or a position of authority, their social media accounts are ran through in an attempt to find out, like you said, the background information of that. And I think, just personally, Martin Weiss thinks that is all done to discredit any possibility that race played an issue in their murder. And I think that a lot of situations where race is clearly an issue, people will sit up, and white people in particular will sit up and tell you how it's not. And I think that when people are going through social media to try to say, you know, he was a thug or he was this or he had the do-rags with the flaps down, all of that is a further attempt to invalidate racism in our country. And to say that, you know, a group that feels that they're infringed upon, like black people, are wrong.
So you're saying when someone is slain or just dies in general, their ending legacy should be how they went out.
I think that should be.
You don't think the rest of their lives before should be closed is pretty much what you're saying.
I don't think it should be brought into the whole judgment of that moment. Like if if we walk out of here and I get gunned down, what I did last week has no relevance. What I tweeted 2 days ago has no relevance. All that matters in my murder is that I walked out of this building and the police killed me.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
None of it matters. None of it matters. I got this podcast talking about my black friends, and none of it matters. And I'm not suicidal. So if I end up popping up dead, now I got it on record. Everybody hears it because it just seems like either somebody's dying, somebody's committing suicide out of nowhere in police custody. And that's just, and they just go through the tweets like Sandra Bland. She died, right? Murky circumstances underneath her death. How do they justify saying that she actually killed herself? Oh, well, this comes out, and then this comes out, and then this comes out. You know, I don't know whether she killed herself or not. But social media didn't tell me whether she killed herself or not. Yeah. I wasn't there in the cell with her. I didn't see if she, I don't know if the police killed her. I know that she died. And I know that people said it was a suicide.
Which at the same time then, when people aren't informed or people don't have answers and information, that's when they start looking up their social media and getting more information about their life when something comes up.
Well, that seems to me to be like the wrong information because when you just look
they
at
look up information on cops as well. They see their track history. They see if they've had any incidents with the youth, or it's really broken down arrest by arrest, like what kind of people they've had incidents with, how many kind of people they arrest. Their track record comes up too as well. Now, I don't know if it damages it any more so than it already was from killing a black kid or an unarmed black man.
Well,
or a black
because
woman.
there's a very real situation where it's a white cop and a black guy, and then they're going at it back and forth, and then the white cop's life is legitimately threatened. And the white cop needs to use lethal force and able to subdue the target. And I completely get that. But what I don't understand is just how all of that background information comes into play. Even if Darren Wilson was a card-carrying Confederate Sons of America, and he's a police officer, and Mike Brown is killing him, I completely understand his right to defend himself. I understand as you're a police officer, you're going to go ahead and take that step and end his because you have the big equalizer. You're the guy in charge. I get that. But Darren Wilson's racist history shouldn't come up in that particular moment because in that particular moment, it wasn't about the fact that he was a racist. It was the fact that his life was about to end and he took the steps to make sure it didn't. That's the way I feel about all of this stuff. Like, yeah, you can look at it, but look at it in the context of what actually happened. Social media, to me, is the jury every time a cop plays judge and executioner, and to me, that's wrong. Man, so everything in Hollywood now is a reboot. Fantastic Four came out and flopped this past weekend. Superhero movies have been redone a million times. Now Jurassic World. Eric, you'll never guess what I just saw coming out as the newest reboot to join Hollywood.
What we got coming?
Bad Boys 3 and 4.
3 and 4?
Bad Boys 3 and 4. Yes, Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, Bad Boys. They're coming out with a third one. Not only that, and they've already announced the date for the fourth one.
I've heard about the third. You sure about the fourth?
I'm telling you, man. I'm looking at it right here. Sony Pictures have dated 2 of its upcoming films, The Shallows, Ghostbusters, yada, 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 yada. Bad Boys 3, February 17, 2017. Bad Boys 4, was that July 3rd, 2019. 2019.
That's when the third is coming out?
What in the hell is going to happen in Bad Boys 4? What is that? Is that the one when Jaden Smith takes over?
We don't need to see Jaden Smith in any more movies. I'm done with him. Just let his legacy in acting be from Pursuit of Happiness. That's a great role you did there, kid. Let that be done. And honestly, I don't even know if I'm digging this one too much, man. I'm thinking Bad Boys 3 should be coming out way before 2019. Because think about it.
No. Bad Boys 3 is 2017. Bad Boys 4 is 2019.
I mean, even that seems like it's too far. Bad Boys 2 came out in 2003.
Jesus, 2003?
2003. And we've seen Will Smith and Martin Lawrence since. They getting up there, bro. They getting up there. Like, I remember Jay-Z was talking about would he ever do a Rockefeller reunion, because, you know, people want that. The streets want to see something like that. I'm not sure if I want to see Bad Boys 3 with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence way past their prime in their old age, how they are, because like Jay said, everything just gets a lot slower. Everybody's just not hitting them notes and in the grooves like they used to.
They probably won't be doing their own stunts.
I don't want to see. Oh, definitely not doing their own stunts. The comedy will be there. The action will be there based on the effects, but I don't know, man. It's kind of like seeing, like, would you want to see Friday again?
No.
Me neither. Like, I kind of fear like this would be the same thing.
No, absolutely not.
I feel like Bad
Friday
Boys would be the
alone.
same. Bad Boys 2 had epic moments, dog. You telling me every black kid that saw the way Martin Lawrence and Will Smith went at Reggie when he came to pick his daughter up for a date?
Oh.
Every man is going to be doing that now. Every man going to be, who the fuck are you coming up to the door? Motherfucker, you look 30. Like, everybody's going to be doing that.
Who the fuck is you?
Me and my dad told me, like, you better get this routine down. Whenever your sister starts dating, you going to have this. And I'm going to do it with my daughter. That's real.
Yo, get at us. Let us know. Email us, yourblackfriendspodcast@gmail.com. Tweet us, YBF Podcast. Instagram, Your Black Friends Podcast. Let us know, what black movie do you not ever want them to touch, and which one should they remake? Now, what you saying?
Now, this isn't a hood movie, but I will set flames in Hollywood if I see, because I've seen a lot of conversation coming up about this movie. I will set flames on Hollywood if I see a Space Jam 2.
What's wrong with Space Jam 2? With LeBron?
I don't want to see it. Yeah, I don't want to see that. That's an iconic movie that we grew up on as kids, and I feel like when you try to recreate it with somebody else, it just doesn't look and feel the same. And
So
it
you're just
somewhat
gonna
to a
sit
degree
here-
takes away.
You're just going to sit here and deny an entire generation of children
Yes.
what it's like to watch Looney
Yes.
Tunes play basketball
yes,
players.
come up with your own shit. Yes, absolutely. Don't touch our shit. You don't understand the 90s. You don't respect the 90s. That's our time. That's our generation. Whatever you grow up on, because I don't know what cartoons kids watching nowadays. I have no idea, but
That's true.
Come up with your own shit. Don't touch Bugs Bunny, because you don't know what Bugs. That sounds so weird. Coming like say, oh, you don't know Bugs like we know Bugs, but they don't understand.
Nah, man, tell them how you feel.
They don't understand
Tell them,
Looney
man, look,
Tunes the
I
way
know,
we
you grew
do,
up with
bruh.
this. This looked like it touched you as a child.
It did, man. You just don't touch shit like that. You don't come back. Like, think about this. Like, how many Airbuds were there? 30,000.
Stop paying attention after the second.
Exactly.
I
After you
got
keep
the
doing so
joke.
many.
The dog catches the ball.
Exactly.
The dog throws the ball.
After you do
the
too
dog plays
much,
sports.
it just takes away from it. Don't take away from Space Jam. Let Mike have his own lane. LeBron, come up with whatever the hell you want. LeBron's actually a pretty good actor. Did you see Trainwreck?
I didn't see Trainwreck, but
Dog,
I heard that
stole the
he
show.
was actually okay.
Stole the show. He really did. Him and John Cena, hell of a job. Come up with your own shit. Don't mess with our childhoods. Don't mess up with our childhood memories. No, you're not allowed.
Jeez.
I'm sorry, man.
What else is off limits for you then?
Friday. I
Friday.
don't want to see another
I
Friday.
don't either.
I've heard a lot about that.
No. Friday the 4th, I don't want it. Keep it.
I just saw. I watched Chris Tucker's stand-up special. It was funny. It was good.
The one on Netflix?
Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was good. But you see how old he is now. You see where Cube is at in his life. What are him, Mike Epps, and Chris Tucker going to be talking about at their old age at this point? I can't
think
see that.
The only way to really spin it is you got to have them be the old guys and have kids come in. So it could be a good opportunity to usher in a whole generation of new young black actors that have, with like the movie Dope, and then it's Straight Outta Compton that's
Great
coming
movie,
out
by
on
the way.
Friday.
I want to see
You
that.
know,
Dope was legit. Dope
was
good.
legit. But like, you know what I'm saying? It's giving an opportunity for black actors to really get out there. But I agree with you. Leave Friday alone.
Let's let it go.
I don't give a shit about Space Jam
It shows
2.
that y'all ain't got nothing else to talk. Like, I like seeing Ice Cube evolve into Are We There Yet? Evolve.
Hold on. You
shouldn't
said you like seeing Are We There Yet?
Hold up. Listen to what I'm saying.
No,
I
no,
said
no,
I like seeing my actors evolve. I don't want to see I don't want to see Ice Cube still talking about the shit he's talking about on Friday. Are We There Yet wasn't anything special to me, but you need these motherfuckers to grow up. Ice Cube can't be still sitting on the porch smoking weed, bro.
Why
He
not?
can't still be Craig at, what is he, 50-some years
Why
old
not?
now?
Denzel Washington played all type of roles, didn't win an Oscar until he played a gangster.
but he was still in his prime. Though. I'm saying he wasn't. Okay, what was it? What were his early movies? I don't know. Denzel's always been like a.
Denzel been in a ton of movies.
Okay,
he's been
but,
in
but he was never
well.
But he's never been like think about it. When they're in Friday, they were young. They're in like what, early 20s. How many Denzel movies is he in? Like his like, is he?
I don't know if it was his early 20s, but in Glory, it was 1989. He could have been. So he had to have been.
Which he was a slave in. But my point is, Ice Cube's
40.
What's wrong with
being a slave?
No.
He's being a slave.
We're not going into that. We're not going into
that.
He
played that slave well.
Let it go. He did. I love Glory. Glory's a hell of a movie.
It's like Kunta Kinte, Denzel and Glory, and then one other portrayals of slaves in a media. Have you come? No. He was a slave, and no. Go ahead.
Martin's sitting over here ranking the best slaves in Hollywood right now.
No, because the way you turned your nose up at Denzel playing a slave.
No, I'm just saying it's not the same as comparing him to Smokey and Day Day and Friday. That's all I'm saying. Or Craig and Friday. Ice Cube's 46 years old. Do you really want to see 46? Should be 50 by the time this new Friday comes out, if it does. Do you really want to see him on the porch smoking weed and, being who he already was? Evolve. There's nothing wrong with evolving. Old people, young people. At a certain time, you're going to get old.
I just don't think that. I'm all with the whole evolution of the actor and getting better, but you don't have to go from Friday to Are We There Yet? You can have some stops in between.
What else does he have? 22 Jump Street, great movie. 21 Jump Street, great movie. That's fine. The comedies is good. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with a little family fun. Just get that family money. Go ahead. Do you think
I'm not knocking him for cashing in.
Sounds like you are, bro.
I don't knock The Rock either. I just can't say that I just was all in agreement and was all for it.
I'm just saying some kind of transitions are necessary.
You do your thing, Cube. I don't have to like it.
That's cool. Yeah, you got your opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. What would your movies be? Go ahead.
The movie that I was scrolling down this list, and I think the one that they could try to remake that I hope they don't or try to borrow from is Hustle and Flow.
They're doing that already.
Are you serious?
Empire is pretty much Hustle and
Flow. No. Empire is not
pretty
Hustle
much
and Flow.
made. Oh, have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's nothing but mainstream Hustle and Flow. Absolutely.
Empire is just corny enough.
It is.
To where I don't turn it off.
I watched the whole season and
so did I
hated pretty much all of it. I'm not going to lie to you.
Why'd you hate it?
It's just so stereotypical, dog.
What do you mean it's stereotypical? What's wrong with it?
Okay.
How you gonna say a black TV show is stereotypical? All TV is white.
No, because we don't have anything besides. How many times have we seen the story of the black family or the black kid coming up out of the hood, rapping, playing ball? It's all the same shit. Now, what was the show that I liked about the black doctor? I don't know, but why don't we have a black ER?
Man, it must have been real good.
What's that?
That show that you
I obviously can't think of it.
It must have been fantastic.
It's been a long time.
You remember
that shows
Empire,
how many.
Though.
That show exactly. It just came out this year. But I'm saying that's the point of what kind of imagery and stuff that we have on TV and movies. It's all the same shit. Think about it. Taraji P. Henson. You remember at the end of the season where she was trying to get that dude signed?
Yeah.
And what did they do? What was their challenge? Who can stay up the longest while sipping codeine?
So
bro, come on, man. We ain't got nothing else to talk about. We ain't got shit else to portray to the mainstream world except rap music and slavery.
So you're not going to talk about how they got the issues of the kid with the mental disease. He's got the mental problems. The oldest brother, the middle brother's gay.
Do you really think
all of those are things in the black community we don't talk about?
Well, first of all, black folks that aren't watching it is because of the homophobe or the homosexual activity in the TV show. I've caught that conversation a lot in barbershops outside of it.
People not watching it because the middle son is gay?
Which I think is stupid, yes. But and at the same time, are people really when people are watching the show, they're watching it for the entertainment purposes. Nobody's talking about the mental illnesses. People are dogging out.
But you can't sit there and say in the same voice saying, "Oh, don't we have anything to produce to people outside of rap music and sipping codeine?" And then not say that they're not tackling serious issues. Terrence Howard threw his son in the trash can.
He did, and which was foul as hell.
And kicked his they showed his bipolar son having several breakdowns with his white wife. All things, these are all things that are huge issues in the black community.
But all that, I don't know if that's an issue, but yeah.
Are things that are super disgusting. Come on.
A conversation, fair enough.
Cuffing a white chick, being crazy, and being gay? Come on, bro.
I'm saying that all can't come from a different, like I said, if it's all I feel like we see too much of the same stuff. slavery. I'm done with slave movies. I didn't even want to watch 12 Years a Slave because we've seen too much of that.
You know what got me about 12 Years a Slave was everybody wanted to say 12 Years a Slave is the greatest movie of all freaking time. Did you see it?
I saw it and I hated it.
It was not all that great. You know what? It
hated
was another movie just about slavery. It was like the third grade movie that you watched in at Roots.
If you've
No,
seen
the third grade.
if you've seen Roots, you've seen every.
If
slave
you've seen
movie there
Roots,
is.
you've seen that. That's what
Yes.
I was saying. And like when I always had to sit around work, people telling me this is one of the most transcendent movies of all time. And I'm
no.
like, yo,
No,
this
it's not.
movie's not even all that.
And white people have to say that because if they're not, then in the mainstream eyes, they're racist or they don't understand black people. It's just
It's a good
dead.
movie. I'm glad it was made, but I wasn't. Any movie that stars black people and puts them in an uplifting position, I'm happy for it.
I'm not, man. We've had too many instances on slavery, and at the same time, when you watch a slave movie, what is your mood at the end of it? Are you happy? No, you walk around, you see white people in the store. Exactly. You walk around, see white people in the store, and you get mad as hell about them for what you saw. I don't go to the movies to have a foul spirit in my mind after watching something. I want to learn something, or I want to feel good at the end of it.
But you don't want to learn anything bad, apparently.
That's not true. I just not when that's something I've been taught about since I was a child. No, I'll say that because when did we start learning about slavery? Way before we had to watch Roots in middle school.
I don't know a point that I didn't know about
Exactly.
slavery.
I watched Roots in third grade, maybe. Like when we saw it in middle school, because I think every school in Michigan or wherever else has to play that for like African American History Month or something like that. So we saw that way before all the white kids saw it. It's no mystery anymore. We know about it. The African American story is bigger than slavery, and we're bigger than rap music, and we're bigger than playing basketball. I would like to see that on a wider and bigger scale. I would like to see, like I said,
You would like to
ER.
see like black gays on TV, or blacks who have
wouldn't mind that.
like blacks who have bipolar disorders, or blacks who are in like biracial marriages.
I don't think
all of which were in Empire.
I don't think I don't think Empire is gonna launch that now. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't see a big story on homosexual life or anger disorders coming on Fox anytime soon. It's not gonna happen, bro.
But I'd also, at the same token, don't see them covering codeine overdoses because it was on Empire the night before.
Yeah, but codeine is already hitting mainstream America too. Dirty Sprite 2 is being mentioned out the mouth of white people on the news and in the entertainment world. Nobody knew what codeine and lean was before it started hitting shows like Empire. You know, because we knew about it.
People knew about codeine and lean well before that. What is it? Oh, come on, bro.
People.
You need to do.
So you tell me if you walk.
Google.
No. You tell me if you walk outside right now. You ask. I guess let's say 10 white people. How many of them are gonna know about who Pimp C is, or what Lil Wayne drinks on a day to day?
Pimp C, probably
No way.
I'd say 1 to 10. What Lil Wayne drinks on a day to day, 4 to 10.
No way.
But
Absolutely
they would say
not.
they would say
2.
Scissorp.
I'd say
They
no.
would say
I'd say
Scissorp.
2.
White people love Lil Wayne.
White people love Lil Wayne. That don't mean they know what he's about. They don't know about Truck Fit, and they don't know about his lean obsession. They probably wouldn't know that he almost died from codeine. What, last year, 2 years ago? They won't know about that. I guarantee you.
But can we agree that the show Empire?
Is whack.
I wouldn't say it's whack.
It's whack.
It'd be much better if it was on HBO and like there was like cursing and sex in it.
Like Power.
Yeah, it'd be much better if
I
it was
need to
there.
start watching Power. I heard Power is very entertaining, but I have not seen it.
It is
I
entertaining.
can't judge it for myself.
I wonder how you would think of it. I wonder what you would think about it though.
What, about Power?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You know what? Email us at yourblackfriendspodcast@gmail.com. What do you think, Eric, based off listening to the first 2 episodes, what do you think? How do you think he would react to Ghost and Tommy the way that they are, with Ghost being who he is?
You think I'll be a hater or something? What are you trying to say?
I'm just asking the people.
I want to know what you're trying to say, though. What is this? What is this backhanded shit you throwing at me right
watch
now?
the show. Go watch the show. We'll talk about it next week.
Is it on Netflix?
It's on no, it's on Stars. So you gotta
So I gotta
finagle around.
Oh, it's only 2 seasons in, right?
It is.
I did see the new with Lala. I was not impressed by that. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did. I've seen
not
every
impressed.
episode.
I was not impressed. Were you impressed with what you saw?
With Lala?
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Because I've seen, that's such a. Anyway, for those who aren't politically correct, I've seen her in swimsuits.
No, for
I've
me,
seen her in a lot of other shit.
A freaking sex scene on TV doesn't necessarily do much for me.
In 2015?
In 2015 or in life in general. Like,
yeah, because it's not like, back in the day, but when we were growing up, finding porn was like fucking finding gold in the sand. Now all of a sudden it's everywhere. You go on Twitter, you follow a porn star, you getting a 20-minute clip.
No, like
Fucking just all that.
what? I was watching maybe the third to last episode. One of them has a sex scene in them towards the end of the second season. Well, they all have sex scenes in them.
What,
It's just-
Empire
the show,
or Power?
No, Power.
Okay.
There's no sex scenes in Empire. Come on, it's on Fox.
No, there is actually. There's a gay sex scene.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It was interesting.
I've seen the show. I just must have forgotten about it. But that's, again, dude, sex scenes, they don't do anything for me. Like, they really don't. I don't know, man. It is what it's like. Like, shit. Power has, like, probably 2 or 3 sex scenes an episode. And the last one, I was in a rush, and I fast-forwarded through it.
Yeah.
I know what's happening. I've seen sex before. I'm familiar.
Yeah. We're at the point where the sex that sells in America isn't really doing much for us because we've seen it all at this point. You know, I'm sure you're not a virgin. You've had girls. You've had ladies. We've seen it on the internet.
I'm much
It's
more
all over
interested
the
in
place.
direct-to-consumer sex than viewing sex on TV.
That's fair enough. I'm pretty sure 90% of America is.
How the hell do we get to
I'm
this
sure.
point?
I don't know.
It's now time for This Week in White People.
All right, time for one of my favorite segments. Martin, who we headlining this week, man?
Donald Trump and his supporters. Eric, did you happen to catch the Republican presidential debate?
I missed it.
I did
I'm not
too.
upset I did.
I didn't watch it either because I was cutting up episode 1 of this Fine Here podcast. But Megyn Kelly went at Donald Trump and started asking him some really tough questions based off his track record with women. And afterwards, the Donald didn't take too kindly to that, saying that Megyn Kelly was bleeding out of her eyes and someplace else, inferencing that she was menstruating while asking the questions.
Oh, my God.
Because the only way that a woman would ask a tough question is by she would be on the rag. That's not what I'm mad about, though.
Okay.
Because I think that we all know
It gets worse.
that Donald Trump is a noted asshole.
To think that it could get worse than Donald Trump blasting women.
Well, we all know Donald Trump's a noted asshole, racist, sexist, misogynist, really whatever ist you could probably place on Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. But what I don't get is these people sending Megyn Kelly, the Fox News anchor who asked him these tough questions about women, sending her death threats about it. There are people, legitimate Donald Trump supporters. First, listen to some of the things he said. You know, about the Latinos, about John McCain being a war hero, about, obviously with Megyn Kelly, all these things that he's been saying. You still have people who support him so vehemently that they will send death threats to a woman on TV who asks him tough questions during a presidential debate?
Does Donald Trump know that America doesn't just revolve around white men anymore?
But
Does he know it's not 1776 anymore?
I think it's Donald Trump and all the people who support him. I don't say all the people that support him, because there are people who support him on the attitude of like, yeah, he's a truth teller. He's not bought by anybody. All politicians are bought. And like, that's all well and cool. And if you like that vision for your government, that's fine. But I think we could also find a politician who's not bought, who's also not racist and sexist.
Yeah, but my point is, like, he doesn't realize that, okay, if you cater to white American males, that's your thing, okay. But do you realize that the country is a lot bigger? You got to get a lot more support from females, Latinos, African Americans, the youth. He just doesn't understand that right now. I get it. Yes, we absolutely should be looking at these people who are following him, sending death threats to Megyn Kelly, which is blasphemous. But it starts with, the famous Remember the Titans quote, attitude reflects leadership. And look at what he's leading to his followers right now. People will just jump on any damn bandwagon or any movement there is. And Donald Trump is pushing a dangerous rhetoric that I don't understand people really getting on the back and supporting right now. I'm lost. Like, this guy's, to think that he's leading this Republican candidacy.
It's not
right
like
now.
he's just shouting from the rooftops and
No.
nobody's listening.
No.
People in resounding lead
He's
in the
bringing
polls.
headlines every day.
Exactly. He's always talked about every single day, and that's why Donald Trump in itself is not the person who I want to shame necessarily, because Donald Trump, he'll go out there and tell you exactly how he feels, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So I can appreciate that.
And if we were gonna do This Week in White People, he would headline every single week.
Just
so
about.
we'll save it until he does something really crazy.
Yeah, just about. You don't want to
Okay.
just give it to him just on something like this. So that's why I'm giving
He'll do something crazy in 2 weeks.
I think
we'll get back at you, Donald.
That's why we want to give it right now to the Donald Trump supporters, offering Megyn Kelly death threats for asking tough questions about women. Mind you, came out like a couple weeks ago, Donald Trump raped his wife. And it was in a biography, and then his wife later refuted the claim. So it's a whole lot of real murky situation, but it's not a layup that Donald Trump is all for women's rights.
No, he's all for one demographic only. And if that's honestly where you think that's going to take you into the White House, good luck, fam. It's not working out.
This episode of Your Black Friends is brought to you by the University of Michigan Black Alumni Reunion. Keep track of us online at yourblackfriends.com and on social media. Find us on Twitter at YBF Podcast and on Instagram at Your Black Friends Podcast. Feedback and contacts welcome in our mailbox at yourblackfriendspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for your time and support. New episodes coming every week.